Supersonic, 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 supersonic,
My name is Gareth, but I record under the name Jumping Backslash. I'm from the UK, but I live here. I've immersed myself in the culture and tried to learn languages and like the people and like the country. It gave me my music and it gave me something where I go, that's me. Now, maybe I have to go to South Africa to find it and whatever. Whether I got the right or not, that's not for me to say. It's not going to stop me making the music that I make. One of the things that some people say to me, which is odd in a way, is they go, oh, you're white. Let alone English, but you know, oh, you're a white man. How can a white man make a beat like that? But in a way, I just think that's a weird way to see it.
I've got this feeling like I don't have any entitlement to play this because I'm a white kid coming from the suburbs and I don't understand the language and I don't understand this. And touring and coming back here made me feel like fuck all that noise. Like, I love this music. I want to play it just as much as I want to play anything else. And I love the people around me who are making it, and there's such good stuff going on here. Like, I'm done with investing all this time and energy and all that shit. Like, let's actually channel it into something good and something real that's right here, right now.
You've got to want, on some level, to move your culture forward, otherwise what's the point? It's not about the genre and it's not about, it has to be about something bigger. And you're only going to be doing that by doing something that's about the culture. I mean, an Englishman shouldn't be saying this kind of stuff in a way, but maybe it's stupid. But that's what I believe. If you see it on the overview, and from my point of view, I see the overview, there are amazing things from all people of this country. And someone should say it, because I know this much, that on an international level, people are into it.
In 1999, there weren't a lot of artists. There was a whole lot of competing house DJs. There was no market for the kind of stuff that we were releasing, and we basically got flat no's from everyone that we took it to. So we thought, okay, let's DIY.
African Dope was probably the most instrumental single point in Cape Town's electronic history. They were the first ones to stick their necks out and try and bring things together and try and push a scene. Because they were the only thing happening with nothing else miles around, they naturally gravitated like-minded individuals together, and because of that you got what was a lot of the start of the momentum of the scene in Cape Town.
It was a community of producers, a community of DJs and promoters, and through that I got to make music professionally for the first time.
You know, Cape Town's always had its signature sound in terms of that, and that's what we grew up in.
It's always been this kind of hub of left field electronica. That's still very healthy.
It's where the links with all of these acts happened. It was through African Dope. Very much with Felix, very much with Waddy, very much with Cy, Marcus, Fletcher, Denver. You know, there was a big whole African Dope family at that point, you know?
I'm Simon Ringrose, under the name Cybot.
Everybody knows I'm a motherfucking monster.
Yeah, I've been involved in the electronic music scene for maybe 10 years, 12 years, I don't know.
I've always admired Simon, you know. He's the real deal, you know, like as I feel I am, you know. And his skills and everything like that are really, you know, like it's not often that you get somebody who's so good with rhythms. It's also like very melodic as well, you know.
Live shows have always been a huge thing for me. You know, scratching was like a big influence, and getting out there and doing battling was like 6 minutes to like prove yourself, and you kind of had this arrogance to you, which you had to. Maybe some of the people into my older music will be like, this is so different. But I'm enjoying the fact that I get to play to so many people, and that's what's inspiring me at the moment, and just kind of perpetually building this bigger sound. In the old days, I think the electronic scene was so small, and I kind of felt that it was, here in Cape Town, it was Marcus, Felix, and myself, and with Constructors, with Waddy, we kind of made music for each other, and I would sit down and write a song to like impress one of them.
My name is Marcus Wormstorm. I'm an electronic musician, and I live in Cape Town with my wife and cat. Quite influenced by composers from around the 50s, and the way that I like to work with these guys. So there's some like improvised parts and then like strictly notated parts with my music.
But like fuck no, drugs are dead. The whole club and drug thing is dead.
10 years ago when we used to do those parties in Marvel, like I had like an idea of what I wanted to do, but I don't think I really was able to execute it. I'd have like a violin player in the club with me, and I'd feed back the sound of the crowd onto themselves with like a violin player shit. People just like, shut the fuck up, like what are you doing, you know? I had to just start developing and like get like technical, you know? And then I think that's what I did for like the next few years, is just learn. And I think I'm at a space now where the eccentric part and the technical part can sort of come together, and we can do something new together, you know?
I mean, there's no music industry here in Cape Town, really. There's an underground music industry. It's nothing like what you have in Joburg. It's a real industry, generates billions, and there's radio stations and TV and stuff. But what you do have here is a cooking movie industry and advertising industry.
And we've learned so much, like from doing all these commercials, like experimenting with different styles, and like and it's like very competitive. And I think like technically we learned like so much stuff from doing that, and at sometimes feels like, you know, maybe it would have been better just to be an artist.
I'm relatively shy, and I think it was often the way I would respond to people in shyness was taken as arrogance. But that was quite bitter for me, almost sort of like suddenly from being no one to being somebody, and then the kind of judgments that you receive when you're a bit of a celebrity.
Adam Lieber walked in with music of this young guy from Pietermaritzburg.
Felix the band. He was a young, very quite shy punk.
When I was young, it was like I was very much like into genre, or, you know, and at the time we were obviously like most adolescent young males were into like heavy metal and thrash and all that shit, you know. So our first band was like that, but then I started like getting into. I used to listen to a lot of industrial music, like Ministry and Skinny Puppy and all that kind of shit, and that stuff opened me up to the whole electronic thing.
He's an enigma, you know. He's one of those dudes that's probably the most talented person you'll ever come across, and is probably his own best asset and worst enemy at the same time, you know. And all of this contributes to the stuff that he creates, you know. And I think if you remove one part, you probably won't get the picture, the beautiful picture that we all see when it comes to his music.
If you had a do-over, what would you do differently?
I probably wouldn't have smoked that hit when they gave it to me.
That's quite a big thing, like people...
Yeah, well that's been a...
Genius equals drugs.
Yeah, well that's obviously been my fucking... Luckily for me, I don't have a death wish, and I do prefer life over like a needle in my arm or something like that, but look, on the one hand, I like, there's many aspects to drugs that have been interesting for me, like, you know, sort of, I've spent a lot of time hanging out in fucking places with unsavory characters that I wouldn't have otherwise, and that's been interesting, you know. But at the same time, it's meant that I often sabotage myself, you know, a lot, and it's very frustrating, you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to go forward and I fucking go 2 steps back, you know.
A few artists that I've dealt with over the past 15 years where you get wrapped up in a substance and it gives you the illusion that everything is cool, it's under control, you're maintaining, but nothing materializes. It never allows your feet to hit the ground solidly enough for shit to resonate and stuff to happen.
My next thing is just to fucking stop being so pathetic and just kind of, you know, like stop chasing this elusive, like, album that will, like, you know, like change the world, you know, and just put out what I've been doing, because I've actually been working on a lot of stuff. I mean, it's been long years, and it's not like I don't work. I work every day, so there's a lot of stuff I want to put out.
Felix's story is not over. It's not over yet, you know. It's not written. It's at a point, and I have no idea where it'll go. It could go up, it could go down, but that's something I really do feel is that Felix's story is not finished.
Everyone had like their own sounds, like, and what was interesting, things weren't formulated. I think because we were sort of, there weren't a lot of like electronic producers. We were like the first guys, like in front of this like wave about to crash.
I almost felt frustrated and angry at the time, because I was always seeking and looking for young producers that were going to come up on our heels and like just destroy what we were doing, and I was just wanting that scene to like envelop us, and it never really happened until we started like tapering off, and I knew I was just like, oh, this is so frustrating, because I know this shit's just gonna like pop, and yeah, it did.
Christian Tiger School, these young 20-year-old kids just making this kind of Flying Lotus style, you know, hip-hop, downbeat, whatever you want to call it. They're really good. They really got a lot of attention, which always helps, you know, they've got fire behind them.
Ian still wanted to do a rap group, and we didn't have anything to rap about, so we didn't do it, but we were still like friends, obviously. And then when I got back from America, like by some chance we were listening to like the same sort of like electronic hip-hop stuff.
We always listened to hip-hop and to jazz and to Radiohead and stuff, and we were comfortable in that space. And then over this last year, we started getting into like, you know, taking in as an influence like house and techno breakbeat and like a whole bunch of other stuff. There's limitations with just being strictly electronic, and obviously on the other side as well. There's so much electronica coming out of Cape Town. You can almost even judge it by the amounts of people that are getting signed to labels just in the past year.
This is John Wizards. I've never really thought about the music I make as electronic music. I guess it just so happened that it borrowed from a lot of styles that incorporate that kind of thing. It was never something that I was very conscious of. When we were signed to like what is like an electronic label, I found it a bit strange. I guess I was trying to make music that could be performed sort of with acoustic instruments and more traditional instruments, but I guess it turned into something else.
It's time for electronic music. When it comes to the music of today now, the people, they are now moving to the age of electronic music, so which is good because the world is changing. I feel good when I play with my brothers, and we know we all African, and whenever we go play in Europe, I try to tell them, you're not European, you are African, so that Africa can be a hero. I don't see other band in South Africa of white people, black people, and I think this, if our band can grow and people can get it to listen to us, the people, they can change the way of thinking, especially here in South Africa.
Music is not about being a hobby to me, but it's something that I was born to do. The music thing started with my family. At first, when I started to perform or also to sing, I was laughed, I was teased by my brother and my cousins, and also like they always tell me that they don't see me as a big artist. That turned me down somehow, but I ended up like building my own, like telling myself that I have to do this, and also I have to keep on becoming an artist. People, they never saw me from Kalisha. The only day that they saw me, it was when we performed at the Rebel with Spoke Matambo.
I think I had written some stuff, but I was most excited when she came with her own lyrics. And it gave, with her own lyrics, her own melodies, her own harmonies with Avuyile. And it just gave my music another edge, another energy. And when Yolanda's on stage, she's just she's an explosive performer, you know?
I've played at Joburg with the guy. I've played at Durban with Spoke Matambo, and also like having that tour with him. That's when I started to dance and also to collaborate with him on Kwababa and Shinwam, and then let them talk. I became a vocal and also like a dancer. People in Kailicha, they really supported me, and also they made me feel like they appreciate what I'm doing, and also like they appreciate what the people I work with. They can't even wait for me to finish my album, because they are willing to give me my full support, and also they keep on telling me that they support me seeing me performing on stage. I make them feel proud of me coming from Shakes and also performing in Township, and also like doing my own thing in Kailicha, which is something rare from the ladies here.
Music industry in SA is quite a lot of a boys club, and it's always dope to have another energy on stage. And you can see people in the audience respond to that equally.
Joburg and Durban, the only thing that makes them to be on top when it comes to house is that like the guys, they support each other.
Then Cape Town, they still need more to learn about how to create the beat. But I mean, comparing with the way back, things are changing a little bit. You know what I'm saying? They're getting there.
There are some artists here in Kailicha and also in Cape Town that are doing house music that are not well known, and also you can find out that like their house is much better than the house that we normally listen to.
Rafest, yeah, it's growing. Rafest is growing. It's one of the most wanted in Cape Town. Rafest, that's the only people that are doing KWAITO.
This is the statement, my man. Ithi Joburg ivule indlela, Durban iyalandela, Cape Town seyifikile, Rafest seyingenile. When we started, nobody was like noticing us. Abantu bebengasoyanga besithi, hey, what is this? Abafethu amanosipana, because this is useless. You're not going anywhere. Now they can't believe when they see me on TV, on magazine. Now they were like, now we can see what you're doing. To us, it's an honor to be like known internationally. But the disadvantage is that people from South Africa, they didn't know what we're doing abroad, because what we're doing, we're pushing South African music internationally.
For a lot of people in Cape Town, that particular sound, they'd be more receptive to the roughest because LV did a track with them. Oh my God, it's hyperdub, it's cool, it's from London. It's like you don't have to look overseas to actually find really cool stuff that's futuristic, that's being made locally. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, in Cape Town, there's a big division. So if we want to win people over, let's tap to the other markets. Because to be honest, there's white clubs, there's colored clubs, there's black clubs.
I think the electronic scene in South Africa still has major divides. There is cross-pollination and there is stuff happening, but it's still happening very, very slowly.
White music for whiteys and black music for black people, and you know that's a legacy of apartheid. So the media structures were in place of radio stations playing that music for that market.
It's a strange history. It's a checkered history. That's an understatement, but it is a checkered history. It's a difficult history for people to come to terms with.
It's the fact that none of us grew up even being able to speak African languages. I'm lucky to have been brought up in environments where like, you know, I'm allowed to be friends with somebody from another color. But a lot of people my age grew up not even being able to, you know, like, it's horrible, you know.
Racism, like xenophobia, like what all of such fucking stuff can be true.
I do think there's a crossover point, and I think it's of a generation. And I think you're seeing people now sort of 18, 19, 20, not thinking in those ways.
I think it's happening.
No, it's happening. Sure.
Like it's not like not to say that any one of us said like it's not. This is what's happening. Like there's segregation, nothing's happening and stuff.
No,
it's definitely been changing.
It's just like a lot of resentment and crap that it's going to take a long time for people to get over and stuff, you know.
I think it's time for us to grow, you know. It's no use staying at one place.
I know there's people in this town and people in the country who are black or are white or are coloured or whatever the bloody hell they are that dig my stuff. But it's difficult in a way. I don't know how you could unify those people.
If we brought all of our skills together, we would be unstoppable, you know? Like in terms of, the vibe and energy and the appreciation and love of music in this country is amazing.
This country's basically got like the most diverse bunch of people in it, all with like a rich history and a background or whatever, and they've been kept apart for years. So I think we've got the potential to make the most amazing stuff in the world.
It's going to take a forced and push and an effort on the behalf of all industry, whether you're a promoter, DJ, whatever, to go places that you don't go, do stuff that you don't do, accept shows, make shows in places that you don't play. And only through that, I think, will we actually see a natural integration between not only race, but class and location as well.
As far as South Africa is away from our hardcore past of racial segregation, oppression, that a lot of people still live in really kind of, on one side, extreme conditions, and on another side, very separate conditions. And electronic music is always seen as something where people party together and live together and can vibe together. But we haven't really been able on a mass level, been able to break that boundary. And I look forward to being like one of the people working towards that, to smash down the walls between, different cultures, different languages, different areas.